Hi, everyone. This is Pastor Bob with the Sunday Sunset Reflection for Sunday, August the 30th. You know, today's theme of Better Than Life from Psalm 63 was a good way to end this year's selection of Psalms for our summer series in Psalms for 2020. It seems like each psalm that we've considered really has been just exactly what we needed during these times of uncertainty and great stress, hasn't it? As we pointed out, you couldn't get a more stressful situation than running from people who were out to take your life, as David was when he wrote Psalm 63. But amidst of that situation, he finds satisfaction in God and God's presence, saying God's steadfast love is better than life. As you recall, Psalm 63 points the way to enjoy such satisfaction in God and his presence by, number one, seeking God, number two, blessing God, and number three, trusting God. I trust you received a blessing from today's message as much as I did in preparation and preaching. Just another way that God blesses me with preaching the unsearchable riches of Christ that never gets old. Well, it's been a great week that began for us actually on Friday evening with the holy matrimony of Joshua Glandon and his bride Madeline Frere. We'll have an after-service celebration for the couple in just a few weeks at Christ Community Presbyterian Church. And as I pointed out in the service ceremony on Friday, that it was a real blessing to me to officiate this wedding as the union brought together two people who were raised in godly homes by parents who loved God and loved each other. Not only that, the two of them are both dedicated Christians, dedicated to living by God's word and serving in the church. Even so, they recognized the need for God's help in making their marriage succeed. It was really a blessing to be part of the occasion that God had ordained. I trust that you'll be praying for Joshua and Madeline and looking forward to celebrating with them. Well, next week, Heath Glandon will be preaching. Lord willing, he'll be going back to continue his series in the book of James. Then on September the 13th, we'll begin a series through the book of Acts. Looking forward to that. That'll be a good one. As I like to say often, that we really are blessed to have many gifts and talents in our church. And as we've talked about before, Rick Richard is teaching our Sunday morning Bible study, continuing a 13-week lesson series on the biblical view of depression. You can look for today's class video tomorrow afternoon after it's processed and placed on our YouTube channel, for which there is a link on our website, ccpconline.org. Of course, we encourage you to join us on Sunday morning at 9:30 for the live presentation and catch up via the videos. But if you can't make it, you can always find the videos on our YouTube channel. Today's Westminster Confession of Faith Shorter Catechism question is question number 18. Here's how it reads. What is sinful about man's fallen condition? The answer is the sinfulness of that fallen condition is twofold. First, in what is commonly called original sin, there's the guilt of Adam's first sin, its lack of original righteousness, and the corruption of his whole nature. Secondly, are the specific acts of disobedience that come from the original sin. Now here are a few scriptures that the Westminster Divines use to back up that answer in the Shorter Catechism, question number 18. First of all, they turn to Romans chapter 5, verse 12, which reads, Therefore, just as sin came in the world and through one man, and death through sin, so death spread to all men because all sinned. Romans 5 and verse 19, For as by the one man's disobedience, the many were made sinners, so by the one man's obedience, many will be made righteous. And of course, Jesus Christ. Romans chapter 3, verse 10 says, As is written, none are righteous, no, not one. In Colossians chapter 3 and verse 10, we read this, that we're to put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge after the image of its creator. In other words, we have an old self that we're putting off. And so he says, and likewise in Ephesians 4 and verse 24, to put on the new self created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. For David says in Psalm 51 and verse 5, Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. John chapter 3 and verse 6, Jesus says, That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. So in Romans chapter 3 and verse 8 we read, and why not do evil that good may come? Well, as some people slanderously charge us, saying the condemnation is just. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 3, it says, among whom we all lived in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, like the rest of mankind. In Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5, the Lord saw the wickedness of man, how great it was on the earth, that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only continually evil. And in Psalm 53 and verses 1 through 3, it says, the fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, doing abominable iniquity. There is none who does good. God looks down from heaven on the children of man to see if there are any who understand, who seek after God. They have all fallen away together. They have become corrupt. There is none who does good, not even one. So in Matthew chapter 15 and verse 19, Jesus says, it's out of the heart that come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false witness, and slander. And of course, the wrapping up of things in Romans chapter 3, verses 10 through 18, quoting from various other places in the Old Testament, as it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. No one understands. No one seeks for God. All have turned aside. Together they have become worthless. No one does good, not even one. Their throat is an open grave. They use their tongues to deceive. The venom of asps is under their lips. Their mouth is full of curses and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood, and in their paths are ruin and misery. And the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes, man by nature. So in Romans chapter 3, verse 23, it says, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Again, the question of the week is, what is sinful about man's fallen condition? The sinfulness of the fallen condition of man is twofold. First, in what is commonly called original sin. That is the guilt of Adam's first sin and its lack of original righteousness and the corruption of his whole nature. And second are the specific acts of disobedience that come from that original sin. Good teaching here today from the Westminster Confession of Faith Shorter Catechism. Now, Lord willing, Jan and I will be here with another Pastor's Chat this Tuesday. In case you cannot tell, Jan and I really do have a good time recording that video each week because of this main purpose. We want to stay connected with everyone and really enjoy the questions, and especially people that have not been able to make it out to the in-person service. Well, we've had some great questions recently, but there's always a call for more, so if you could submit a question, do so. If we use your question on the Pastor's Chat, you will win a croissant from Flying with Jerome. So send us your questions via Jan's email or message her on Facebook or send her a text. Let's see, what else do we have? Well, consider joining us for the Zoom prayer meeting. It's each Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We send out the link to the Zoom prayer meeting. All you have to do is just click on that link and join. It's a great way to keep in touch with other members of the flock, no matter what your level of participation. If you're just there to hear what goes on and see what goes on. Anyway, get to see faces of each other. It's just another part of keeping us connected. So look for the link and click on it as we send it out. Please consider joining the meeting if you, nothing more than to bring your burdens, of course, to the church body if you have some, and we can pray for you during that Zoom prayer meeting. Speaking of connecting, I encourage you to check out, again, my weekly Power Break blog that goes out each Monday. This next week, of course, is another one that will be on the Monday blog. If you check it out on Monday morning on my website, bobbrubaker.com, or you can subscribe on the website and receive it by email on Monday mornings. And while you're at my website, check out my podcast called the Power Break Podcast, where you'll find, of course, you can find that wherever you download podcasts, or you can listen via the link on my website, bobbrubaker.com. It's been a good day at Christ Community Presbyterian Church, and I trust that you've had a good day as we reflect on things on this Sunday evening. This is Pastor Bob with the Sunday Sunset Reflection. Have a great week, everyone. Godspeed.